Hello, Midnight TCG members. This is Midnight Fox coming to you with this week's Competitive Edge podcast. This week we have Jenzaki
You'll never get me pot of gold.
and Eddie Phoenix.
Howdy, everybody. Meow.
This week we're kind of going to go a little off base of where we've been going, and we're going to cover the newest set that hit, kind of some ideas of what we think people might be looking for, some overviews of some cards, what we think will be good, so on and so forth. Then we're going to talk a little bit about maybe some decks we've been playing here lately that are a little off kilter that have been seeing success, and then take it from there. But big thing looking at mostly this week, we're looking at the newest set, Cosmo Blazer. It's giving a little bit of something to a lot of players of the game. The Noble Knights are hitting in this one, and so people who are fans of like Noble Knight Gawain and the other Noble Knights, they've got new cards in that, so that's going to be good. Gaga players are getting a new card in this and a draw engine, so that's great. Fish lovers like Eddie, there's some new cards in there for him. The Heraldic Beasts, but I think the big things that people are really going to be looking at right now, Brotherhood of the Fire Fist, those cards. Number one, they're going to be getting even more support with the new Fire Structure deck that's going to be hitting. And number two, there's a few of the cards in there that are actually being tested out on Dueling Network that are lending support to a deck type that's been dead for a little bit, being Glad Beasts. Not completely dead, but these guys definitely give Glad Beasts a boost again. Um, People definitely were looking forward to the Mermels coming out in this. Um, Other than that, I think that's the big things they were looking at was the Brotherhood of the Fire Fist, the Mermels, the Noble Knights, getting more of that support. But there really is a lot of something for everyone in here, and a card that me and Jen definitely have our opinions over, which we'll go over later, Breakthrough Skill. But for now, we've all decided to pick a few cards that really caught our attention out of the set and give a review over the cards and kind of pass it around. So, without further ado, the Fox's first pick is Slacker Magician. It's an Xyz monster and it's a rank 1. Unlike its predecessors and the cards to come, it only requires 2 level 1 monsters. So now that Treeborn Frog that's been dead isn't as dead. And it allows you to use things like Effect Veller and other level 1 monsters and lay them on the field and pop them over, and she saves herself. She's a 2100 defense. So you overlay 2 level 1s and you get a 2100 defense monster that she can't be destroyed by battle. And during either player's turn, when a card effect is activated that targets her, you can detach an Xyz material from this card and negate the activation. And if you do, destroy that card. So, for me, I really like Slacker Magician. The actual first name of her was Shiny Magician. So I couldn't find her at first, but then I found they had Slacker Magician. What's your guys' thoughts on Slacker Magician?
Well, being the way I am, I think the artwork is very nice. Interesting little bit. The effect is I'm not going to use it much because there's very few times when I could see myself controlling 2 level 1s. But yeah, I like it.
The only thing I can see this card being useful in is probably frog decks because they play like Treeborn and then another level 1 frog and then go.
I think the main reason I'm looking at Slacker Magician is because I've been playing Wet Rabbit lately. So it definitely gives me a use for my Treeborns. So that said, Second guy I kind of wanted to go over was Valkyrian Knight. Another lock card. 1900 attack, 1200 defense, level 4 warrior, fire type. When it's out there, your opponent cannot target another face up warrior type monster for attacks except Valkyrian Knight. So there you go, you got a lock. When it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can banish one warrior type monster and that card from your graveyard to target a level 5 or higher warrior type monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. Can anybody say abusage of cards like Silent Swordsman level 5? Now you can't use your spells on me. Maybe want to go into Divine Knight Ishsark so I can remove all your monsters when I destroy him. And he's a light monster. I like the fact that it's a level 4, so it allows you to create yet another lock in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it has really good stats. What do you think, Jenzaki?
Um, you could also use this to bring back a Blackluster Soldier that has been taken out.
True. Very true.
Yeah,
As long as it was summoned right the first time, ooh, I get my BLS back. Hee
yeah. It's, again, for me, I'm big on the artwork. Very nice artwork. I wish I had this card back when I used to play Warriors. Nifty effect. I don't see it any deck running it going tier 1, but it'd be competitive enough.
It'd
What, you're saying that?
definitely be good in a Bushi box build.
Yeah.
So what, you're saying that warrior decks can't make it to the top again? I mean, come on now.
I'm not saying no, I'm just saying this isn't the card to do it.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying you got one card that you can throw into an already kind of like. I know right now it's tier 3 probably or lower, but it's one of those things where if you throw the deck together properly with the person who's dealing with it has got the right skill for it, and just
Yeah, but that's a lot of what ifs. Like the
I
big
know.
warrior decks the big warrior deck I can think of at the moment is
Hero.
Six Sams, and I don't see it using this card.
Oh no, that's
Heroes.
6 Sams.
Heroes.
Heroes could
Heroes.
definitely use this card because
Yeah, actually, yeah, use that in a Neos build.
Yep.
And it can also go into, I think it's the, is it Nova, the fire one?
Yep. Nova Master.
Fire type. Yeah, Nova Master. Yeah. So definitely, yeah. Valkyrian Knight, definitely one the Fox is going to be looking out for. And like Jen said, the artwork is beautiful. I love the face mask on it. You got any thoughts on Valkyrian Knight, Eddie?
Well, I mainly gave him a good bit of my thoughts, but if I have to give a more in-depth thought, let me pull it up here real quick. I can see this because I mean you've already mentioned one lock. I could see you comboing this with Marauding Captain and Command Knight, possibly overlaying for level 4 already, or rank 4, I should say, not level 4. Get it right, stupid.
What I like is there you go. Warriors now have 3 different locks you can go into: captains, command knights, Valkyrian knights. Warriors are not to be forgotten.
I'm trying to remember. What's the warrior that when it's summoned that it allows you to be able to pull equip cards from your graveyard to it? Guildford?
Are you talking about out of this set or?
Hang on a minute. No, okay.
Iron Blacksmith Kotetsu?
No, Guildford the Legend is the one I was thinking.
Guildford the Legend, yeah.
But he says he can't be special summoned, which makes me sad. But heck, if you run it with like that Bushi box idea, running the United We Stands and stuff, you can drop him in and just wipe.
What I'm thinking of with this, when I think of if you're looking at competitive, is maybe even a Ben Kai build because he's 1900 attack. So he can put up a good wall while you get your equip spells into your hand for Ben Kai.
Oh, yeah.
And if you create the lock with 2 Valkyrian Knights, hey, they can't hit it.
Yeah.
So with that, the next one the fox has is Diamond Dire Wolf. It's another Xyz monster, two level 4 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card to target one beast, beast warrior, or winged beast type monster you control, one other card on the field, and destroy them. This card, even though it doesn't seem like it at first, lends support to Glad Beast. It allows you to go into the Glad Beast draw engine with, I think it's Gladiator's Return. But I like the artwork. He's a secret rare. Yeah, he's an Earth, but he's a level 4, 2000 attack, 1200 defense, and he can be splashed into a beast, beast warrior, or winged beast. So with harpies getting more support later, this could be a good card to go into that deck. Beast warriors and beasts, you're looking at the heraldic beasts that's hit, and a lot of your support in glad beasts. Again, is going to be beast, beast warrior, and winged beasts. So this card I think will eventually tech in to Glad Beast. And yes, you're going to lose a card on your field, but you're still getting destruction. What do you think, Jen?
I don't really have any thoughts on it.
Eddie?
I'm considering because with his effect being able to destroy one monster on each side of the field, I'm thinking this would be good for like Flamvel decks. Because with like Flamvel Fire Dog, you've been able to ditch it and be able to bring it back with Rekindling.
Yep,
Um,
kindling.
there's. Hang on a second. This card was in your hand when I placed it. Ooh! You can also use it to be able to pay 1,000 life points to quick summon Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest.
You know, there's one other one I think you guys are forgetting.
I'm more than likely forgetting.
Manticore of Darkness.
Okay?
So you still get a level 6 back. When Manticore is sent to the graveyard during the end phase, he gets to come back.
Yeah.
So you can use this to ditch him, and so you get extra destruction just by discarding a beast, winged beast, or beast warrior. So there again, going into that specific archetype, Manticore at one time was limited, I believe, because back before we had synchros and Xyz and such easy fusions, it could roll into a very broken deck. So definitely wanted to give Diamond Dire Wolf a shout out. And the last one I have is March of the Monarchs. And I only mention this card specifically because I'm a fan of Soul Control. Tribute summon monsters you control cannot be targeted by or destroyed by card effects. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck. Yes, this means you don't have your extra deck, but now you can go back into Soul Control. Now you have a use for Soul Exchange. Now you have a use for Enemy Controller. Now you have a use for creature swapping small monsters. Just March of the Monarch, I think this is going to give us old school players a chance to go back and run Soul Control again with Monarchs, like running the Rise of Locks. And then also the fact that once this leaves the field, then you've still got your Monarchs out there to go in, depending on which ones you use, into things like Adrius, Tyrus, with your level 5 Monarchs. And then you've got your level 6 guys that you can go into, run a couple Delves, and then you've got a Magi Magician Girl. Just my thoughts on March of the Monarchs. What about you, Jen or Eddie? Either you got thoughts on it?
Nah, it's my only big thing is always my big thing on certain continuous magic cards is I don't like that you're not going to keep them very long because we've got a very back row hate heavy game.
Yeah, but see, it's one of those things where it's funny because that card can just be a target, and it's like you gotta hit me or my monarchs can be destroyed by these effects. So it's one of those where if you want to use it as a decoy, you can, but it's one of
What
those risk reward cards.
what I like is being able to abuse Cyber Dragon being at 3 again. You're not going to be able to abuse Frog being at 3 because that's going to be sitting in your spell and trap zone. But now you can abuse Cyber Dragons again. Bam, boom, bam. You
Mm-hmm.
can do all your special summons of your regular monsters. You just can't use the extra deck. That's
Yeah.
what I like about this card. I think it could potentially be a good tech card for people who are really tired of Xyz monsters. And for me, this plus Ryza equals bye bye Zen mains. Probably my most loved playing using it in my deck, but most hated playing against card. And that would
Yep.
be kind of the cards Fox wanted to highlight. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Jim Zaki so he can give us his thoughts on a few cards.
Yeah, my first card. This one brought up some heated discussion on the forums. Is Breakthrough Skill. Target one face-up effect monster your opponent controls. Negate the effects of the opponent's face-up monster until the end of this turn. During your turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target one face-up effect monster your opponent controls. Negate that target's effect until the end of this turn. The reason I like this card so much is because the first part is it double dips into its effect. You can negate an effect of your opponent's monsters twice. The first time it could be on their turn or your turn. The second time it's got to be on your turn. But my big love for this card, and I got to see how it plays out because it might not be as good as I think it is. But in theory, it allows you to throw it down, get it hit by MST, and then leave it sitting in the graveyard until you need it. Um, so let's say your opponent has a Thunder King on the field, and you need to special summon something. Breakthrough Skill. There's so many cards like that being able to negate their effect is a plus. Zen mains. There you go.
Yeah.
This is, I'm going to agree with you on this. When I look at breakthrough skill, I think affect Valor twice. The first time, yes, they can negate it when it's out on the field, but I think it's going to be a real tech card because unlike most of your other normal traps, it's not dead once it's in the graveyard. You still have that removal effect to negate again, and you can't have it solemned, you can't have it dark bribed, you can't have it stopped once it's in the graveyard. So instead of just having a dead trap card that you've used, now you've got a secondary use for breakthrough skill in your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Eddie?
I have to agree with it being a good card because being able to drop it onto the field, I sit here and I just wait on it and I wait on it and I wait on it, and then activate it when I need to, or I get its MST that sits in my graveyard. I can essentially kick it off twice or kick it off once, and now you've got like what, maybe 6 effect veilers in your deck.
What I like to think of it in another regards in is baiting your opponent to MST it and then chaining it to
Yeah,
their effect monster. So, in theory, you could end up with it not being dead and your opponent wastes their resources to get rid of this card that you're going to use. Either you're going to use it when you need it or you're going to use it to chain to your opponent into something that could possibly end up helping you.
Mm-hmm.
This would go to me along with the Forbidden Lances and Fiendish Chains of today, of being your tech cards. This may not be a main deck staple, but I'm sure that we'll see it be at least a side deck staple with the current meta.
Yep. Um, but yeah, get that out of the way because I think this is going to be one of the, regardless of not whether it plays well, I think it's going to be one of the most sought after cards because you can splash it into anything. There's no requirements for a specific archetype. So I think this one's going to be big. Speaking of cards, I'm happy for. We've got Gaga Draw, which gives Gagagas their own draw engine now. Its effect is banish 3 Gaga monsters from your graveyard, draw 2 cards. You're going to have a lot of monsters in your graveyard. Hell, this is great. Put it with a burial from a different dimension, and you can pop off 2 of them to draw 4 cards.
And it's not as dead as it would have been when it was just Gaga Ga Magician. Now we've got Gaga Ga Girl, we've got Gaga Ga Gardener, we've got now Gaga Ga Clerk.
Cowboy. Yeah, and
Wait,
for Clerk, it's a 2-star monster, and it says if you control a Gaga monster other than Clerk, you can special summon this card from your hand. Now, this one's great because, as we were talking about before the podcast, this gives you, if you have 2 in hand and say a Magician on the field, this gives you an instant gotchi. Um, or if, say, you can pull these 2 out and put them with a Krebins or a Plague Spreader and make a at least a level 6 synchro, if not higher.
or you could even use the Krebins or the Plague Spreader as Xyz material to still go into Gachi Gachi Gantetsu. Because
Exactly.
Gachi Gachi is another one of those tech cards in today's meta that abuses the level 2s and the ability to boost attack and defense. I like Gaga Ga Clerk. I agree with you completely on that.
Yep, at least side decking these in my current deck, if not trying to see how viable a full Gaga deck would be. Um, Now, what I really wanted to talk about is we're getting Noble Knight support, which is always nice. We're getting the Caliburn. It increases attack by 500, plus you gain 500 life per turn, and as usual, when it's destroyed, you can equip it to another Noble Knight. But with it, we also get Noble Knight Madrout. It's a normal monster, light 1700 until equipped with a noble arm, in which case it becomes a dark, level increases to 5, and if you control no monsters, you can special summon 1 noble knight from your deck in defense position and destroy the equip spell that's equipped to it. And I see this as being the combo maker for if you can bring back the Noble Arm to re-equip, and you can go into rank 5, or you can leave it in the graveyard and go into the next card, which is Artorigus. Um, with him, rank 4, 2000 attack, 2000 defense. When it's Xyz summoned, you can target 3 Noble Arms in your graveyards with different names and equip them to it. And given that there's 3 Noble Arms right now, I put together what its combined effect would be through those, but also once per turn you can detach 1 Xyz material to destroy any number of spell or traps on the field up to the number of noble arms you control. So you could get up to 3 destructions for 2 turns in a row, and it's but with the 3 noble arms attached, it would gain 1500 attack. You would get the plus 500 life points per turn from Caliburn from the thing that I can't pronounce. It would get you could permanently lower its attack by 500 to destroy a set card on the field, and from the Gallon it would lose 200 attack per turn. But at 3000 attack, you could get a few good swings out of this thing.
And the Astwine or whatever that is, and Caliburn kind of even each other out. Caliburn gives you 500. The one we all can't pronounce takes it away. So you kind of even out there, and then you throw in the third one, and you still get 1,000 gain.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's
I don't see this being like a big card. Like I think what makes the Noble Knights that like it's an interesting deck. I don't think it'll be huge, and I would be glad to be proven wrong. But I think what really drives them is the TCG exclusiveness and the very beautiful art on all of these cards.
I think what could really abuse this engine, as far as because it's equipped, is if you're going to go equip heavy, going into a Noble Knight slash Ben Kai deck and concentrating on equip cards. I think it could be very useful in that kind of deck because we know Ben Kai gets whatever the equip card's effect is, plus he can attack that many times.
Hmm.
So I could see Ben Kai being splashed into a Noble Knight deck.
Oh yeah, what's it? Gallon and Caliburn are an instant plus 1500, plus 1500 on Ben K, plus his ability to attack multiple times. It's a deadly combination.
And I think right now, Ben Kai has been hugely overlooked with the Noble Knights. A lot of people have just concentrated strictly on them when there are.
Oh,
We
just
either
wait.
have the newer players or we have the older players, as I think Konami waits as they go through the ban list, who forget about these cards that in their heyday were extremely powerful. That when we get this new support, they're just concentrating on let's throw the whole thing together and not thinking, what could I splash in that was older that would abuse this as well?
Hmm. Plus, what's it? There's a good amount of light monsters in with the Noble Knights. Splash in Ben K and other dark monsters, and you've got Noble Knight Ben K Chaos.
And when you think of Gawain, if you have a light type monster, he's a special summon in defense. So if you can easily pop out 3 level 4s into a Shockmaster in one turn.
Hmm.
Definitely, like I said when we went over the overview, Noble Knights are set, I believe, in the next Hidden Arsenal set to get even more support as well. So definitely a developing archetype, and I agree. Fantastic, fantastic artwork. What about you, Eddie?
I have to just say you guys took all my points. So
Any more, Jen?
No, that's what I wanted to talk about.
All right. We'll pass it on to Eddie then.
okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with one of my personal favorite decks that I play almost all the time. Black Wings. There's 2 new ones. And it's gonna be harder than heck for me not to say Demacia on the first one. Okay, so the first one is Blackwing Damascus the Polar Knight. It's a 3-star, dark, 1300 attack, 700 defense, wing beast, obviously. It's another Kalute. Because during either player's turn, you can discard this card to target one Blackwing monster you control. It gains 500 attack until the end phase. So, 3 of him plus 2 Kalute, you get 1900 attack points. Well, not. I'm saying if you just one each.
Well, it's
But
not just that, but his discard effect not only gives you the gain, but it's also an easy way to ditch cards for Dark Armed Dragon, which
yeah,
Black Wings heavily abuse.
yes, of course. But Jin, do you have anything to say on it?
No, I'm not big on Black Wings.
You're thinking,
Okay.
or forgetting one thing? No. He's also a good guy to bring back with
Yes, he is always
Lizard.
target for Blizzard because he's a
Lizard.
3-star.
And you can go into a level 5 android, level 5 ally.
Tactics.
Pretty soon, I haven't seen it actually hit the TCG sets yet. We're supposed to be getting a level 5 Blackwing Synchro as well.
Oh, I want it. That's all I gotta say. I want it. But
You
anyway, my second card is Blackwing Gladius of the Midnight Sun. Or Gladius the Midnight Sun. 3-star, 800 attack, 1500 defense. If the only face-up monster you control is one Blackwing monster other than Blackwing Gladius the Midnight, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. So I drop my Shura, I drop him, I drop Bora Bora Gale. Or, if I'm really lucky, I drop Sirocco, Bora Bora, Gale, or then him,
you know
Sirocco, him, Gale, Bora Bora.
another thing to not be forgotten about it too is that with these two cards, it allows you for an easy Xyz engine with Black Wings too.
Yeah,
I'm really waiting to see Blackwing Xyz monsters hit because I don't want them to go away from one of my favorite archetypes. I'll agree with you. I love Blackwings, especially in Vayu Turbo decks.
yeah. So I mean, you've got a lot of opportunistic opportunities for just those two cards alone. So, Jen, any word or anything?
Nope, still not a Blackwing person.
Okay, so my next two cards I'm going to cover are going to cover for all the burn deck fans out there. I'm going to start with Kickfire first. It's a secret rare trap card. Once per turn, when a face-up fire monster or monsters you control is destroyed by a card effect, place one counter on this card for each fire monster. For each destroyed fire monster. During either player's standby phase, you can send this card to the graveyard and inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent for each counter on this card. Now, I'm going to tell you a card that you're going to be able to use this in combo with. Bonfire Colossus. It's another secret rare. It's an 8-star Beast Warrior, Fire type, 2,600 attack, 2,200 defense. He's a trigger effect. If you control a fire monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. When this card is special summoned, target 2 fire monsters you control. Destroy those targets. So, how many cards can we special summon with Ye Old Lucky Rekindling? Plenty.
What I
Drop this monster on top of it, pop 2 monsters on the field, put 2 counters on up to 3 of your kick fires. If you are able to whittle your opponent down to lower than 6,000 life points during their standby phase, activate all 3 of your kick fires, and then 6,000 damage. Game.
what I like to think of with this card is number one, it's going to make your opponent think twice if you're playing a fire deck before hitting you with a mirror force.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they're going to think, oh, you're going to gain counters. The other thing I like is the wave motion cannon esque effect of it. If you couple this with wave motion cannon in a burn deck that's fire based, this card and wave motion cannon could easily, in 2 to 3 turns, win a game.
Yeah. And plus, if you wanted to where you're able to get cards back into your deck, you can run Royal Firestorm Guards to be able to put 4 Pyro-type monsters from your great. It's like 4 Pyro-type monsters. You turn those to your deck, then draw 2 cards. So, up to you on how you want to run your deck. I mean, Rapid Fire Magician is another card you can add to this burn type thing for burn damage. So you can just keep hammering your opponent in just so many ways possible.
One of
Burn
my
decks are going to see
favorite,
a lot of play.
one of my favorites, and Keo likes it too, is Volcanic Counter. So what I like about Volcanic Counter, and you couple it with these cards, is you drain your opponent's life points to the point where you have them in a lock. Back in the day before we got Xyz monsters and when synchros were first introduced into the game, that was how I would take out Lightsworn decks because I would just drain their life points away, have 1 to 2 counters in the graveyard, and have them down to the point where if they attacked me, they lost.
And plus, people now also run just so many. They run the 2 solemn warnings. So right there, they're already reducing their life points by 4,000. And if
Solemn
they run
Judgment.
solemn judgment, they're cutting that in half even more, which is 6,000. And so it's just an easy kick to your opponent and just go, oh, I've got 1 counter. Done. Game.
Does allow for some interesting plays.
Yes.
Any thoughts, Jinzaki?
No, you covered everything I was thinking.
Okay, so my last card, I had to save it for last because it's my funny slash serious card. And it's Bacon Saver! On first reading it, you might think, Eddie, you're crazy. Bacon Saber, why would I want to put a pig in my deck? Because it's a 2-star zombie monster. 700 attack, 600 defense, dark. Effect. This is where it comes in, and it's perfect. During either player's battle step, while an attack is occurring, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate the attack. You can only use the effect of Bacon Saver once per duel. Hello, Necro Gardener. Granted, you're a zombie, but hello, Necro Gardener.
But it's Necro Gardener for zombies. And it's
Exactly.
an easy overlay unit for Gachi Gachi and zombies that will allow for you to drop an Xyz unit and get something useful out of it.
Yep.
Uh,
So we.
I think just as to kind of finish this off, I don't think we went through some of the higher ones. I think we'll leave it up to the people who are really interested in the Fire Fists and all, as
I
the
am.
art, the entire deck. But definitely one a lot of people have looked forward to. Going with Abyss Megalo was Abyssdine in this. Really cute artwork, but when this card is added from your deck or graveyard to your hand by a card effect, you can special summon it, but you must control a Mermail monster to activate and resolve that effect. When it's special summoned by the effect of a Mermail monster, you can target a level 3 or lower Mermail monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. You can only use that effect once per turn, and they kind of cover that again, and only once that turn. But we know that Atlanteans and Mermails do a lot of discarding. You could also probably splash this into frog decks. I'm just thinking there are lots of plays that could be seen with this, but the biggest one that has been talked about is with Abyss Megalo. But just last quick thoughts on Cosmo Blazer. Personally, for the Fox, the big three I'm looking forward to trying to get a hold of is breakthrough skills because I really think it's going to be a staple. That and Slacker Magician, just because it's 2 level 1s. Now I can use level 1s out on the field and put out a good block wall and um, March of the Monarchs for the ability to go back to soul control, just because it's fun. And now that we're done talking about Cosmo Blazer, for the Fox, just for the gaming part of the section, just a couple things I've been fiddling with here lately. I definitely have to give mention to my off the wall vanilla deck. It's a dark and light dragon deck, but it abuses cards like Birthright, Call Upon It, Monster Reborn, and it runs three Blue Eyes White Dragon. It has the ability to go into five headed Blue Eyes Ultimate, and the other day I was playing the deck, and by turn two, with Rabbit, Birthright, Call the Haunted, I had spammed the field with four Xyz monsters and a Blue Eyes White Dragon in 2 turns. Awesome, awesome deck. And the other one I want to mention, something I worked on, Genzaki 2 variants I was thinking of was Photon Gaga, but really I'm waiting on Photon Satellite to hit for that. But it's a deck that allows for easy level manipulation to go into different ranked Xyz monsters. It's very easy Tiras, very easy Adrius, and if you're a fan of it, it gives you the opportunity to go into number 11 Big Eye easily as well with the Gaga Ga Magician and Gaga Ga Girl. Just a couple decks I've been fiddling with other than looking back at Glad Beasts now with the formation of the Fire Fists. But, Jim, you been fiddling with anything new here lately?
Um, I'm still working, mostly playing Chaos Gaga, trying to get the stuff to put it together in real life, because I'm liking it. Still got to try out the Photon Gaga, but the big problem I have, and this is actually what I think makes it such a great deck, is just acquiring the cards because I need to get a Blackluster Soldier, and it's so versatile that the my extra deck can have a lot of the best Ixies monsters in the game. So all of them, the most of the extra deck is super expensive.
I will say that I play tested both builds, and they're both equally as deadly. Just for myself, I prefer the Photon Gaga deck. It's rather fun to watch your opponent when you pop out a little photon satellite, and they're like, "What are you gonna do with that little thing?"
Yeah, I might have to switch over to that one because the current build I've been playing uses tour guide and tour buses, and getting those is a pain.
Not as much. Tour bus probably because people are actually starting to see the playability of it and the ability to recycle, like the tour guide tour bus engine. But your tour guides, I think, are going on eBay for 2 or 3, maybe up to $8. Not going to be hard with since they've got the super release, the black rare, and the star foil. They're not as hard. But your tour buses, probably they've been going up in price with people actually realizing the versatility of that card.
Yeah, I'm heading over to eBay right now. Click.
I'm going to eBay. I need to find these cards. Yeah.
You need some black ship of corns, guys. That's
I would try
another
to get. I would try to get those, but I'm pretty sure those are too damn expensive right now.
$8.54.
You kidding me?
Get them now. Get them now before it goes up, and it's a staple. I picked up 2 copies of it myself. It's a great answer to Zen mains because it sins, it doesn't destroy.
Woohoo!
I kind of want to mention my last deck that I've really been fiddling with, and I really want to say this is a troll deck. I kind of left it out of the equation. It's a complete removal deck. 3DD Warriors, 3DD Warrior Ladies, 3DD Assailants, 3DD Crows, 3 Effect Veilers, 3 Caius, Chaos Sorcerer, Black Luster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, 3 dimensional prison. It is a removal heavy deck. And I originally built it for Madolches, but I have been trolling DN with it. I made a agent player very mad tonight playing it.
you do it.
What about you, Eddie? Anything funky, crazy you've been playing here lately?
Playing? No, not recently because I haven't been able to duel much because I've been focusing on college. But as far as ideas go, I've got at least two funky ideas just running around in my head right now going, okay, I think we can work this out. As long as I can just keep them organized on the left and right side of my brain because they're trying to overlap with each other. And it's like, no, 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 we can't do that.
Well, I guess to end out the night, want to give a mention again to the Tri-Site tournament we will be holding in March. Everything is working on finalizing now for anybody who's interested. Going to have two sets of prizes. Number one's going to be in a raffle. Number two is going to be for the top two. This is all courtesy of Midnight Fox for people who go on and they become a member of all three sites. Your name will be entered into a raffle, and you'll have the or a calculator, and
Fox, you're
that's
going to have to read those first prizes again because you cut out on me.
Inzector Gigamanus Mat and a calculator, and that's just for joining all three sites. Nothing other than that, and staying active through the entire tournament. The second one, the Fox is going to get two Prophecy Destroyer tins, and the top two people between the three sites, the top two duelists, will each receive a Prophecy Destroyer tin. So definitely tune in, listen. Uh, Tune in for all of our contests. You'll see we have lots going on. Our still have our race to 8,000, which Eddie is leading for an Exodia mat. We have our Flash Tournament 3. So tune in on Thursdays. Fox always has something funky that he throws out. A couple weeks ago, we did an Aqua tournament. Everything had to be Aqua, but there were no spells allowed. You could only use traps. So we have a fun time with the Flash tournaments. Tune in for those. And just look all over the board. There's lots of opportunities to win free stuff. There's opportunities to get some great trades on the site. And keep bringing your friends. Keep listening. You never know what kind of news the Fox will bring to you on a Competitive Edge podcast. So this is Midnight Fox and Jen
Yes.
and Eddie signing
Bye.
for the Competitive Edge podcast.